We have come again to this sacred ground to gather and to remember on this Yom HaShoah. To remember is such a Jewish act. We have just left Passover behind, and at the core of that holiday is to remember. We remember the suffering and we remember the joys of freedom. At the center of the story is the human struggle. And while Pharaoh looms large, he is overshadowed by heroics of Moses and Joshua, Miriam, Nachshon ben Aminadab, Aaron, and so many of the Israelites. And during Passover, we remember the heroism of our ancestors to take that first step, to risk it all. Formally, today is Yom HaShoah Vura, Holocaust and Heroes Remembrance Day. And on Yom HaShoah, we remember a world that forgot its humanity. We need those who could speak up against injustice that surrounded them. And that is where the Gvura, the heroism, is so important. And remember people like Hannah Senner, Sempo Sugihara, Raoul Wallenberg, Mordechai Levitch, Rosa Robota, the Danish fishermen, who stood for so much more. And yes, there was that Gvura, there was that heroism. There were those who stood for what was right and even risked their lives to do the right thing.
Thank you for being here at the 59th annual commemoration as we gather not only to honor the memory of the millions of innocent lives lost in the Shoah, but also to pay tribute to our survivors. My grandparents, Reuben and Marcia Bosniak of blessed memory, were survivors of Auschwitz. My grandfather was uncomfortable sharing his story, but in 1997, he finally agreed to give testimony to the Shoah Foundation, which he did in Yiddish. We recently translated his interview into English, hearing his full story for the first time. The interviewer ended with the following question: "What do you want to say to your children and your grandchildren?" His response: "They need to remember what we went through. That's what I want them to know. We have enjoyment from our children, and we hope they have their lives and not the lives that we had. Thank you for having an interest in this and for doing this, because I know that the world needs to know." Many of us are sitting here today with our parents, our children, grandchildren, even great-grandchildren. I attend this event each year with my parents, and now also with my son. As a third generation, I bear the responsibility to find the right words to teach my son about the Holocaust and its importance to our past, our present, and our future. Today, more than ever, my grandfather's message resonates with me as we work to find a collective path forward in the wake of the events of October 7th. To the survivors among us, we offer our deepest gratitude for your courage in sharing your stories and ensuring that the world remembers. Your resilience serves as inspiration and as a reminder of our collective responsibility to never forget, to educate future generations, and to stand united against all forms of bigotry, discrimination, and intolerance.
I'm a daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors, and I'm going to be really honest. It has been very, very difficult this year thinking about what message I want to bring. As a direct descendant of Holocaust survivors, I am witnessing events that I only thought I would hear about from my parents, about their experiences before and during the war. People always ask me, what was it like being raised by Holocaust survivors? Truthfully, I think my childhood, I didn't think it was that different from anybody else's. However, the children of survivors, we frequently spoke about common threads that we all shared. You know, things like never let your passport expire. You don't know when you might need it. Some things were funny, like fish in the bathtub for Passover or the meat grinder. And they never stood in line for anything. And God bless America. I never met a survivor that wasn't grateful for this country. But the one thing we all heard no matter what our parents' background was speak out, call out, stand up, and never be a bystander, and always support the state of Israel. And all these messages are just as relevant today as they were almost 80 years ago. My heart and my head have been in turmoil since October 7th. Like you, the anti-Semitic climate in our society is frightening, much of it reminiscent of the 1930s and 40s. I never thought that we would see such a surge of anti-Semitism and hatred. We are gathered here today to remember the 6 million individuals who were murdered because they were Jews. Survivors told me you never categorize or compare concentration camps, just like we can't categorize and compare tragedies. They are all horrific. 60 years ago, the survivors in this community gathered to build this incredible gift they left for us. And it feels a really bit strange for me, but I must take a moment to recognize the restoration to the memorial to the 6 million. It was just completed in the last few days. The scaffolding went down Thursday afternoon. Thank you to all of you, and to all of those of you who will support this wonderful endeavor. We replaced 60-year-old gas lines with new copper lines. We equipped the memorial with electronic starters for the torches. We took down, hand-washed, and waxed every single yahrzeit plaque and more. The survivors left this gift, this legacy, so that we would remember. They were here, and they left this as a reminder. And we must remember, Jew hatred did not start on October 7th, and it did not start with the Holocaust. Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you, Karen. And I think we all need to thank Karen, because behind every project, behind every event, behind every movement, there's a leader and there's passion. And Karen, your leadership, your passion for survivors, your passion for this memorial, your passion for this event is year-long, and most people probably do not realize how important what you do is and how you make this happen. So on behalf of this community, thank you. It's been a horrendous year, but I'm going to be a little optimistic, just a little bit. And I'm going to be optimistic because of this incredible Jewish community we have in Atlanta. That, to me, is the most important honor to the survivors and to the memory of the Holocaust. The fact that you can get a tremendous Jewish education of all sorts of flavors in this city. The fact that you have over 5 resident camps where you could send your kids to that will get a strong Jewish identity. The fact that Israel education, and the fact that we have the Israeli consulate here in Atlanta, and so much opportunity to engage in a strong Israel. And we've been part of building Israel. The fact that we have such diverse Jewish cultural experiences that you can engage in. The fact that you can get Jewish hospice, Jewish nursing homes. And that is just a tip of the iceberg of this incredible Jewish community that we've built. That is the legacy that we need to let our survivors know about. And that is the legacy that's going to overcome this future. Just right in front of me, we have a U.S. Senator with a strong Jewish identity. The fact that he is here with us today. Israel will prevail. We will control anti-Semitism. This community will continue to strengthen. And it's not just because of today, it's because what we've done for so many years. So it's my honor to be here and be a part of this afternoon.
At the Bremen, we connect story keepers with story seekers. We collect the stories and artifacts from the survivors, the victims, the families of the victims, in order to tell our story. This year alone, we have shared the Holocaust story with over 11,000 school students. We'd love to do more. and we will do more. But as we collect, preserve, share these stories, we use our voice, and the voices of those who entrust us with their histories in order to educate those within the Jewish and the non-Jewish communities. So it's all personal, and we all have our responsibility to share. And only by hearing, listening, using our valiant voices to share these important stories can we ensure we never forget.
I want to join all who have honored the extraordinary work that Karen has invested in not just this event, but this site. Karen Edlin has poured her heart and soul into the mission of Holocaust Remembrance, and that you achieved the completion of this restoration just days before we gathered here today is a testament to your extraordinary commitment. Thank you so much, Karen. Please join me in honoring you. I know that it echoes many of the stories in your own households and your own families. And I think what's sometimes lost on the rest of the world is that the industrial scale slaughter of our people, the determined effort to exterminate us, is not some ancient mythology, it's not some lesson from deep in the history books. It's an experience of our families, an experience within whose living memory we were raised and within which we still live. And Karen was feeling a little bit embarrassed a moment ago because, whose birthday is it? Because her grandson, who's celebrating his birthday today, what's his name?
Noah.
Noah's second birthday. Where's Noah? Noah, where'd you go? They took Noah out of earshot. It's Noah's second birthday. Happy birthday, Noah. But I hope you don't mind me sharing, Karen, that Karen was feeling a little bit embarrassed because Noah was making a little bit of noise, as 2-year-olds do. I have a 2-year-old baby daughter at home. And I was just reflecting, Karen, that when I hear at an event like this, a Jewish baby or a Jewish child, I hear an act of defiance and evidence of the failure to destroy us. And so I close at this deeply painful and fraught and dangerous moment by assuring you that any who wish to destroy the Jewish people will be fought and will fail again. And in the United States Senate, you have a representative fully committed to ensure that we survive. Thank you very much.
This Yom HaShoah is different, not only because on a Hamas attack on Israel on October 7th, but also because what's going on in the world since then. It's different because antisemitism, discrimination against Israel, against Jews, calls for genocide. It used to be black and white pictures from the history books, and all of them are coming alive all over the free world, in Europe, in the United States, here in Atlanta. It's different because our demand from the world is not just to remember the past, but to secure the future. And unfortunately, we don't see it happening. This Yom HaShoah is different because despite everything, we know our history and we remember what happened to those who wanted to destroy us. And we here, State of Israel, all Jewish communities, we're here to say that we will do anything we need to be sure that never again it's not an empty call. Toda Rabba and Dam Israel Chai.
You're looking at a very, very lucky person. As you know, my name is George Hirschfeld, and I'm a child Holocaust survivor. I represent the 9% of the people that survived in Poland after the Nazis bombed Poland and killed 91% of the people. And by the way, folks, that makes me even luckier. And I'm here today. I survived because of righteous Gentile family and their lives to save me. They hid me and cared for me with so much love. I mean, if we took all the money in this room and we multiplied it by 10, you could not buy. And that's L-O-V-E. All right? They did it because it was the right thing to do. They saw me as a human being, not as a Jew, as another human being. Today, so many in the world emphasize what makes us different, not what makes us one as a people. One as a people, not different. I'm here today because I want to share with you some thoughts about a subject that is very close to my heart, and that is anti-Semitism. There are those who say anti-Semitism is on the rise. I disagree. Rather, anti-Semitism has risen and risen beyond belief. It is higher than at any time in the last 50 years. It is getting worse day by day. Let me share a few facts with you, all right? It's been worse in the last 50 years. 24% of Americans have extensive anti-Semitic prejudices. 73% of Jewish students have experienced some form of anti-Semitism on college campuses just since the start of 23-24 school year. A plurality of Jewish students do not feel physically safe on campus. In 2022, incidents by state occurred in all 50 states as well as the District of Columbia. The states with the highest number of incidences are New York, California, New Jersey, Florida, and Texas. Combined, these 5 states account for 54% of those numbers that have, and they've only skyrocketed. The sad part is the Jewish students are feeling self-censorship, and why? Because the Jewish students feel high levels of discomfort with other students who know they're Jewish, which is really a shame. As one author observed, before Hitler declared war on the United States in 1941, there were Nazis marching in our streets as Americans. Today, at college campuses across our nation, there are Americans marching as Nazis and terrorists supporting, shouting, "We're all Hamas." Make no mistake about it. When students protest, burn the American flag, and chant "Death to America," it has little to do with Israeli military response to the murderous rampage by Hamas. We must look out for the next generation. We must ensure that never again is never again. And most importantly, we must ensure that change starts today. Not tomorrow, not in an hour, now, today. And I thank you very much.
Today, we say the Kaddish not only for the 6 million Jews who perished during the Holocaust more than 8 decades ago, but also for the 1,200 people who were murdered on October 7, 2023, and those who have since died as hostages held by the terrorist organization Hamas. Yitzkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yam adira irotei v'yamlek malgutei v'hayichon v'yamihon v'yei tekol le'it Israel ba'agala uv'zman karib v'imru. Amen. Shei shemei Rabbah v'varach לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנתק ויתהדר ויתהלך ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו. לעילא מן כל יראתה ושיטה תושבעתה ודמהתה דאמרין בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרובה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.